I'm going to share with you why I think understanding gray and the landscape is incredibly important as a painter. Most artists struggle with how to paint gray. Join me later in this video as I take my equipment and make a painting outside to learn specifically more on how to get better at painting gray. This is something I only figured out until recently after painting for years. Consider this a shortcut, and please learn from my mistakes. Now you might ask yourself, why would I need to bother with that? Gray is a really powerful tool for setting the stage for appreciating the impact of, let's say, the blue in the sky in my artwork. But before I created really large artwork and worked in the studio, I created paintings on location. And today I'm going to take you outside and show you my painting that I made of a water lily scene on a gray, rainy day. Here's the scene that I picked based on these nice strong shapes, and I loved some of the nuance of what was happening in the soft silver tones I saw on the lily pads. You can try cropping your view to make the scene a little bit more simple, or try pushing everything a little bit lighter. It's really up to you how you decide to make your scene. To start out, because I'm learning about the gray, I actually like to start with a more colorful underpainting. This is a way for me as a color-loving artist to kind of ease my way into making grays. Remember, I'm trying to get better about this. That's why I chose this scene. So in order to stay on track, I am working with this transparent oxide orange and understanding that this is going to be my dark. Also, I find that it provides just a little bit of color spark, which satisfies that urge for me to make a highly colorized painting, but knowing that this will be calmed down with a more silver tone on top. At this point of the block-in process and toning, I'm starting to edge my way towards more final color for the darkest darks that I see in the artwork. I am looking at kind of the pocket shadows of those trees, and I'm trying to decide how important those islands are going to become with, do I have those right here in the foreground? Are they linking to the background? Am I going to include the tree on the left or not? So I am working out just kind of the bones of my design, the basic structure, and the composition of the painting. Because gray was my challenge for myself, and I knew that it was going to be overcast that day, in my head I'm thinking, okay, sky is light and trees are dark. Just appreciate what you see. Try to get involved with your project. I'm filming it, so some of my focus is missing a little bit, but so here I'm doing some measurement to say to myself, okay, here's my reflection, and does this interval match that interval? I also want to check my light, medium, and dark value groupings. That's super important to stay on track when creating a mostly gray painting. I restate some of the darks because I decided that everything was looking a little bit equal. I had the painting divided into top, middle, bottom, and they were just kind of equal bands of color. So I shifted up the horizon line. Now I've switched to mixing full color. I'm continuing with full color. I'm mixing big puddles that are going to be part of my block-in. And the painting looks a tiny bit like a disaster right now for somebody who's outside investing in time, learning outdoors. But remember, it's one giant mass of color next to the other, with considering the strong groupings of light, medium, dark in my value structure system. Now I'm focusing on the different shapes of the trees, and we're bringing the viewer just a little bit closer to understand the mixes of the greens and how that works together. By now, I've spent about an hour on the painting, and it really started to rain, so that's why we don't see the palette anymore as well. You can even see some raindrops coming in. It's really good to have locked in those pockets of color, those dots, because now I'm refining my shapes. especially when I'm working closer under the umbrella that I have set up. I'm not able to step back as much, and so that really helps to keep me on track for making the painting and just giving it my best effort. Sometimes when I'm on location, mentally I'm thinking, oh, this isn't turning out, and why did I even do this? But honestly, the time to assess for did I succeed or not is when you get back to the studio. Just be present and capture what you can on location and work as long as you can with as much focus. Again, working on more details here, thinking about that lacy look of the sky, trying to consider the green. Is the brightest green in the front? Is there less green in the back? Do I include a section of that far landscape? And could I have like a peekaboo going through the trees that might break up that far picture plane and add some more interest? I sometimes feel like I'm weaving everything together, or as I work on one spot, I shift my focus and think of something else. Really kind of cleaning up that sky shape. I made the value lighter, and now I'm continuing that into the water just for a sense of unity. And working with the wet paint helps me to be able to move things around, such as these silky right and left brush moves on the water. Beginners often think, what size brush is that and how did you mix that color? But really it goes back to relating all of the colors together and working on the painting in bits and pieces, but mostly relating the bits and pieces to the whole entire painting. So now I'm restating some of the reflections because I feel like they got lost, meaning it just kind of got mushy and gray as undistinct value separation collections. And so I just put in that gray reflection of the trees, and I'm now rebuilding those silky right left water reflections. That changed when I was there on location. I was really glad I spent the time to learn these grays on location. Look at how crazy this looks with strong color. But instead, I spent the time with my grays, and I know I can always pump up the color later. And I really enjoyed creating this painting for you. I'm always looking for ways to pump extra color in my paintings, create extra excitement and pizzazz. But what I was missing out on was the power of gray to really set the stage and maximize my color and contrast. When I do that successfully, it makes for a really exciting painting, and it's one that viewers will connect with because there's a sense of tranquility and unity through the artwork. You can see in the partially finished painting behind me that I'm working on taking things into a more colorful realm, and I have learned over the years painting that it's not how colorful I can make my paintings, it's actually how gray my paintings are, and then adding the right amount of color in the right percentage and the right concentration to make the paintings really pop, read from across the room, and be able to go larger, as in the case of this 4x6 foot painting behind me. So I hope that this really inspires you. The hardest part is just being motivated to get out there and do it. So don't overthink it. Get out there, even just make a quick study. I really think that you'll find that it will pay dividends and your art will definitely improve. Give it a try.